I have been dropshipping now for over 4 years, and I want to condense my most important lessons into a single video. I've sold loads of different products, tried different marketing strategies, and through all of those testing, I've learned a lot of lessons about what works. My goal is that by the end of this video, you will have tapped into 4 years of dropshipping experience just by sitting down and watching the next few minutes of this video. If you are new to the channel, my name is James Eardley, and I've built and scaled e-commerce businesses to over 7 figures, and in so doing, I've generated time and location freedom for myself, and with these regular videos, I want to do the exact same for you. In this video, we'll be going through what is dropshipping, how do you start dropshipping, the key lessons that I've learned, the key challenges that most people will face, effective marketing strategies, and my summary to help you to make a success of dropshipping from the very first store that you create. Firstly, let's talk about what is dropshipping. We need to do an introduction so you understand what dropshipping actually is, aside from all of the different chatter that there is about dropshipping online. Dropshipping is purely a fulfillment method. So all dropshipping means is it's a way that customers receive their products from the websites that they buy from. It just means that those products that they order come directly from the supplier of that product rather than being delivered directly from the website or the online store that they actually purchase it from. So all it means when you say you're dropshipping is just that you are asking for your suppliers to deliver the product directly to your customers. Now, why is that so popular? It's popular because it means that you as a website, as an online store, you don't need to buy products up front. Instead, you wait for your customers to place an order for your products on your website, and then you ask your supplier to send that directly to the customer. And crucially, you don't pay that supplier until after you've received the funds or confirmation that you will receive funds from your customer. That means you don't need to have thousands, tens of thousands of pounds ready to start a dropshipping business. Instead, you need a much lower amount to get started because you don't need to buy any upfront stock. All of your initial investment to get started with a dropshipping business can go purely into the software and the tools that you use. So for example, Shopify, Canva, Google Workspace, and a phone line are the very basics that you'd need to get started. And you can have an ongoing monthly cost of around £50 every month in order to run a successful dropshipping business with all of the software that you need. Beyond that, you just need some money set aside to get started with Google Ads, and I recommend having a few £100 ready to get started with your ads campaign. But if you think about it, for a first month dropshipping, if you've got, say, £350, you're in a fantastic place to start generating consistent profit with an online business. And you compare that to traditional business, if you were to buy a franchise, or if you were to buy loads of stock up front, or if you were to go into Amazon FBA, there's always going to be tens of thousands of pounds required to get started in a lot of these conventional business models. So a real key of dropshipping, and the reason I started was because I didn't have lots of money to get started in a business. And that's 4 years ago. I was just getting started and I needed to get into something quickly with low risk, low capital startup. And so dropshipping answered that question for me. So that is dropshipping. Now, there are different types of dropshipping as well that you will come across when you're doing your research. And the different types generally fall into the categories of low ticket dropshipping or high ticket dropshipping. Now, the difference between low ticket and high ticket is the price of the products that you choose to sell. With low ticket dropshipping, you would choose to sell products below £300 or $300. So cheap products, think fidget spinners, they were popular to dropship. Think bedside table lamps. Those types of things are low ticket dropshipping items. And then there's high ticket. They are products that you're selling that are over £300. So then you can start to think about furniture, like large sofas, start thinking about sheds, greenhouses, barbecues. There's so many examples of high ticket products when you start to look around you, and that would be in the category of high ticket dropshipping. So what are the differences between low ticket and high ticket? Other than the price, it makes a massive difference to your overall business model. The reason it makes a huge difference is because of the number of orders that you would need to create and generate in order to make a profitable business. So, for example, the first option with a low ticket dropshipping business. So let's say, for example, that your products that you're selling are worth £30. Let's think about a £30 product for a second. So let's say a moon lamp. You've seen those lamps that you might see on a bedside table that look like a moon? Let's say they're being sold for £30 and you get them from your supplier for £20. So you make a £10 gross profit when you make a sale of a moon lamp. So that's £10 per sale. Now, if you have a goal of £3,000 per month net profit, you'd need to make 300 sales of that moon lamp, because that's 300 sales times £10 profit would get you your £3,000, and that's in gross profit at the end of the month. So that's 300 customers, 300 orders to fulfill, and 300 methods of communication that you'd have with your supplier in order to get those orders fulfilled. So that's low ticket. Think about that, 300 orders for £3,000. The second option is high ticket dropshipping. And let's say, for example, that you are selling a £1,000 high-end gas burner barbecue. And they do exist. You may have got one yourself. You may have seen one in a back garden of somebody that you know. But there are £1,000 barbecues, and that would be a high-ticket dropshipping product. So when you sell £1,000 dropshipping products, and you've got the same margin as with the low-ticket option we just went through before, from your £1,000 sale, you would make around £300 profit if you're spending £700 to your supplier to get that order fulfilled. So that's £300 profit per order for your high-ticket dropshipping. And so if we've got the same goal of a £3,000 net profit at the end of each month, you'd need to make 10 sales for that barbecue in order to hit the same amount of profit in that month. So low-ticket dropshipping, 300 orders a month, and high-ticket dropshipping, just 10 orders a month to generate the same profit. So the rewards are the same, but the input and the work that you need to put in to both businesses are very different. With a low-ticket store, you need to have a fantastic operation in place where you can handle 300 orders, handle 300 customers every single month. So I recommend you need at least 2, maybe 3 virtual assistants working on that store. And also you'd be overseeing all of that, so it's going to take a lot of your work as well. And the second store, with 10 orders, you might even be able to do that all on your own, because you're not going to have many customers to look after. And so it depends what type of business you want to run. But if you do the high-ticket dropshipping model, there's a lot less admin, a lot less order fulfillment, a lot less customers to keep happy, but you make the same profit. And that's the key difference between high-ticket and low-ticket dropshipping. So a story to illustrate this, I started by going into low-ticket dropshipping because it's the way that gets sort of recommended to you early on when you look into dropshipping. It's to sell trending products from a website like AliExpress and to sell things at 20, 30, 40 pounds per sale. And I presume that that would be easier because it's a cheaper product. And so you don't need to be as professional or you don't need to be as experienced to sell low ticket products. That was my wrong assumption. And so I went into that business. And what I learned very quickly is that I'd need to generate a lot of orders to make an actual decent profit, which would take a lot of work and a lot of operational complexity to operate that many orders. And what I'd also need to do is have a very effective marketing strategy where I could generate sales for those products for much less than £10 per order. Because remember, we said £10 per order is your profit per sale. And so to actually be profitable with those orders, you need to make sure that you're spending less than £10 to acquire that customer. So we'll get onto marketing a little bit later in this video where we'll explain all the maths behind this and all of the reasons and how you can be profitable with your marketing campaigns. But just know at this stage, if you go into low ticket dropshipping, you've got very little room for margin in terms of the amount of ad spend you can spend to generate those sales. You've got £10. Whereas with your high ticket business, you're making £300 profit. Even if you were to spend £50 to acquire a customer, you still make £250 net profit after ad spend. So the differences are drastic when you think about the amount of work involved and how much less effective you need to be at marketing. So what happened when I started my store My first store, I started to do it was called the Hype Store, was my first ever dropshipping business venture. So we've all got to start somewhere, so forgive me. But what I thought I would do was sell trending products that I could see were selling well and put it all into one Shopify store and run Facebook ads to these products. So there were pet beds, there were pet portable kennels on there. I also had some no-tie shoelaces, all within this same store. And I thought they were all trending products that I knew I could get cheaper, and I'd run Facebook ads. Now, the biggest issue and why it didn't work was that I was very quickly spending too much on Facebook ads to try and sell these products. And so it was costing me money to run this business, and I was running at a loss. And very quickly I realized this wasn't a sustainable dropshipping business, and I had to pivot and move over to a high ticket dropshipping where I had lots more room for error while I was learning marketing. So I had lots more money to spend per customer, so I could get profitable much, much quicker. So the issue with low ticket, you've got to be a good operator, you've got to be a good marketer. With high ticket dropshipping, you don't need to have that same level of experience. You've got more room for error with the marketing, and you make more money with every order that you do generate. So high ticket dropshipping is the way I've always gone. Ever since I made those initial early failures, I've been into high ticket dropshipping now for the last 3.5 years, because it only took me 6 months to realize that the low ticket dropshipping was going to be way harder and more difficult and not as beneficial either. The rewards aren't as high, even for the same or more work. So one final point to make about high ticket dropshipping. A lot of people think that to sell those products is going to be more work involved. Well, not necessarily. With a high ticket dropshipping business, you may answer the phone more commonly because people might want to speak to somebody before they purchase a high ticket product. But other than that, you still have the same work to upload a product into Shopify. It's still the same work to build a marketing campaign, still the same work to find the suppliers, and effectively it's still all of the same work that you would do for a low ticket dropshipping anyway. You may just speak to more customers before they purchase, but other than that, I was amazed that when I was making sales for over £1,000, and I still do frequently, that it was the same effort to generate those sales as it is for a low ticket store. So hopefully I've hammered that point home. What is dropshipping and why you should choose high ticket dropshipping? Now, I've faced my fair share of challenges while building dropshipping businesses over the last 4 years. And there's key challenges that I noticed that all new entrepreneurs seem to go into when they first get started. So I'll dive into these now. And by listening to this, you'll understand that you are probably going to head towards these challenges yourself unless you take note of this video, make a difference, learn from my mistakes, and you don't need to make those mistakes yourself. The first common challenge is what I did was when I tried to start selling and finding the right products to sell, I didn't spend the time to research upfront which products I should sell with my dropshipping store. And so I just did it based on emotion, based on what I thought would sell. And inevitably, I was wrong. They didn't sell. And every time since I learned this lesson, I now make sure I choose my products purely based on data, based on knowing that they are already selling, knowing that I've already validated that product, and so I'll make a success of it as well. But before that, what I did with my niche validation was just look on AliExpress or a dropshipping directory, find products that I thought were good value and I could sell for more, and then just start running Facebook ads to them. That kind of reckless behavior will lead you to losing money, wasting ad spend, wasting time building stores, and it's a complete waste of your time and money and effort. So it's exactly what I did. So what I did when I first got started, I was just really keen to start a dropshipping business. And so I just thought, well, do you know what? I'm just going to go on AliExpress, find a product that I think looks good, put it onto a Shopify store, follow some YouTube tutorials, run a Facebook ad campaign, and I'm going to be a millionaire overnight. Well, that wasn't the case, because if you do that, if you run in recklessly trying to start dropshipping without doing upfront research to find out which products are selling already, you're like a rabbit in the headlights or a deer in the headlights, because you just don't know which way to go. You end up having to make decisions based on emotion. And so many times I've been proven if you make decisions based on emotion, then oftentimes you'll end up losing money and time. So instead, don't fall into that trap of just being pulled in the direction of your emotion. Make your decisions on which products you're going to sell based on data. And we'll go through how we do that a little bit later in this video. But that's a key challenge that I don't want you to fall into as well. The second big challenge is that a lot of entrepreneurs I see go into business with the wrong mindset. So I was guilty of this to start with. I'll tell you an example of the wrong mindset, and then I'll tell you what the right mindset is to get started. So when I first started, I went in with the wrong mindset that dropshipping was going to be easy money, that it was a get-rich-quick scheme, that I could watch a few tutorials, find some products, create a store, run some ads, and like I say, be generating millions very quickly. Now, what I've discovered in my 4 years of dropshipping is it's absolutely not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a genuine business, just like every other business out there. If you're going to make a success of it, you'll have to put hard work in, you'll have to put time in, and you have to be dedicated to really growing that store and giving it all the care and attention it needs to generate a consistent profit for you. Now, if you go into the mindset that it's going to be a get-rich-quick scheme, that it's going to be an amazing success from day one, then what will happen is you'll come across challenges and you'll come across difficulties, and that won't align with your expectations of the fact that you thought it was going to be easy, and so you'll give up. And the worst thing you can do is give up, because then all of that lessons that you've learned from your initial experiences will have been wasted. That money that you might have spent to test things out will have been wasted as well, and you'll never be able to cash in on those lessons that you're learning, even when you make mistakes, even when you fail to start with. So instead of going in think it's going to be get rich, think it's going to be easy, think it's going to be very quick and easy, and it's going to be a straight line to success, before you do that, go in with the right mindset, which we'll touch on now. So the right mindset to go into it with is to know that you're going to be sticking with this for the long term to make a real success of this business. You've got to have the mindset that you will achieve success and you won't stop until you achieve that success. And that's up to you to put that into your mind and continually tell yourself that you will make it a success. You'll take the time it needs to take, but you will make it work no matter what it takes. By going in with that mindset, when those challenges and obstacles occur, instead of throwing the towel in, saying that it's too hard, saying that it doesn't work, instead you'll learn the lessons that you're being taught all the time by these mistakes, by these failures, and you'll implement the lessons into your moving forward, into your future. And then you'll eventually pivot to a business that is very successful for you, but only if you're willing and ready to accept that mistakes, failures, challenges will all be part of the course. So go in with that mindset. And that makes it a lot more enjoyable as well. It means that you have already got put to one side the fact there will be challenges, the fact it will be difficult, and so you can just get on with it. When you go and you start your business and you come up against challenges and hurdles, you just get on with it. You just enjoy it and just accept that's all part of growing a business. Instead of the fact, if you thought it would be easy and then you come up against the same challenges, your head will be in your hands and you'll be wishing you never started if you think that you go with the wrong mindset. So get that right from the start, and you'll find it a much more enjoyable and crucially a much more successful experience. Now, let's talk about how to actually start your dropshipping business. So to start, you'll need to decide on a business foundation that you'll be sitting on top of, and then you need to get a bank account set up afterwards. And they are your foundations that you'll have in place to run a successful business. So firstly, we'll just discuss your business foundations. Now you have a choice. Either you register a company of some sort, a business that is a legal entity, like a limited company in the UK, or an LLP, limited liability partnership, or you decide not to set up a legal entity and you just operate it out of your own name, and then you'll be by default operating as a sole trader. So there are your two options: either a legal entity that you form, like a limited company, or you just operate as a sole trader in your own name. Now the differences are quite a lot between the two. So I'll briefly touch on both of the differences and what decision I think you should make. So firstly, limited company, in the UK, and it'll be similar abroad, but I know for a fact in the UK, you just go to the government website, go to Companies House, you create a company, it costs you about £50, you enter all your details, and then you have a company that is separate to you, and you run that business as a director. When you've done that, you then have a separate legal entity that is liable for that business. It is its own entity in terms of financials as well. It makes money, you don't make money, the business makes money. And you have different tax reasons that you have that as well. The most crucial reason about the difference with having a limited company is a lot of high quality suppliers will require you to have a limited company in order for you to work with them. So that's another consideration. The difference with limited company to a sole trader is the other option. So if you're a sole trader and you don't set up a company and you just start dropshipping, then the money that you create through that business will be taxed in the same way as you would with an income from a job. It's just personal money that you're generating for yourself, and so you'd pay income tax on the money that you generate through your dropshipping business. The pros of having a limited company, the advantages is that you'll sign higher quality suppliers. You have less liability as a person, because if there's ever any issues with your business, the business is liable and not you. So it gives you that confidence as well. It gives you that protection by having a limited company in place. And also, for tax reasons, it's also helpful to, there's not too much difference between the two, but I found in my situation where I'm running a business full time, it makes sense for tax reasons to have a limited company. And so I can make sure that expenses that are related to your business all go through a company and they come off the profits. And so it's more tax efficient for me in that way. But you'd have to speak to an accountant to get for your exact situation, which makes more sense for a tax point of view. But just know that there are some tax benefits of having a limited company. The advantages of having a sole trader is that it's more simple. You can just get started. You don't have to work with an accountant to complete your company accounts at the end of the first 12 months. It obviously saves you money initially to set up a limited company. It's £50 in the UK, whereas it would be free to just get started as a sole trader. And the other advantage is that some people say that it's best just to get started, start generating profit, and then think about tax and the legal things after you do the most important thing, which is generate profit. So that would be the advantage of that. Now, the disadvantage of having a limited company is that it's more complex. So you have to set up a company, you then have to do your accounts. So that's probably the main disadvantage. Obviously, there's the upfront cost as well to get it started. And the disadvantage of starting as a sole trader is that it's difficult to sign really high quality suppliers, because oftentimes I want you to be a limited company that they can work with. And over time, I think it becomes less tax efficient the more money that you generate if you're going to be cashing it all in through personal income. So they're the main advantages, disadvantages. I started when I first got started as a sole trader, and then when I got into high ticket dropshipping, I then moved into having a limited company. So I recommend, if you're going to take this seriously, and if you want to, for those reasons, sign high quality suppliers, I would recommend registering a limited company straight away. And it also tells you that you're going to be really serious about this business, because you've got a company in place, you become a company director, and although it comes with a little bit extra complexity and an initial upfront cost, it fuels you into taking it seriously, and it means you can sign really high quality suppliers. So I would recommend going down that route and having a limited company. Now you have your company in place, or you know that you're operating as a sole trader, you can then move on to the next step, the next foundation, which is having a business bank account. So I recommend using a digital platform such as Tide, Starling, Monzo, and they are just digital bank accounts that you can use on your mobile phone, and you will need to know whether you're a business or a sole trader, because then you'll set it up in that name of your business or in your own name as a sole trader. But make sure it's a business bank account, because you'll be running a business through it, and make sure it's all separate from your personal finances. You'll thank yourself in the future. Your accountant will thank you in the future as well, because you keep it all separate. So all of your business expenses are in a single bank statement from your business bank account, and they're not mixed up with your personal expenses. Whereas if you were to have it in a personal account, you'd see your groceries, you'd see your shopping when you go to shops, you get coffee at the cafe. You'd have that alongside your business expenses. It'd be very difficult then to go through that statement and work out what you've made if it's all kept in one place. So open up a business bank account with one of those three that I recommended before. Now you've got your foundations in place. You've chosen your company strategy. You've got a bank account. We can now move on to choosing the products that we're going to sell. And I'll go through now how you choose products based on data. So when you do go into selling products, they are going to be already proven to sell. So you have the guarantee that it's working for somebody else. So there's no reason why it can't work for you as well. So choosing the products based on data, we go through a niche validation criteria. Now I learned this criteria through going through the Dropship Unlocked Masterclass. So that was the program that I went through to learn this niche validation criteria. So full props, full credit to Lewis Smith for creating this niche validation criteria. And that's what I learned through Dropship Unlocked. And I'm now a coach with Dropship Unlocked as well. So I coach people on this all the time. So I help them to build dropshipping businesses based on data. So yeah, that I need to say that, get that out of the way initially, because Dropship Unlocked really taught me this. But we'll go through what I've learned with that niche validation criteria. So what you need to do first is come up with 50 niche ideas of potential products that you might sell going into your high ticket dropshipping business. So what I did was start to walk around my local area, and I would be thinking about high ticket dropshipping, and I'd be noting down possible products that I walk past that might be successful, and I made a list of 50. So I'd write down gates, greenhouses, sheds that I'd walk past, barbecues, bikes, bike sheds, commercial kitchen equipment when I went into a cafe. And I wrote down 50 different ideas of potential niches to go into. And I also used ChatGPT for some help as well if I was ever struggling. Obviously, it wasn't around when I first got started, but I would use it with stores later down the line. And you can get 50 ideas very quickly by walking around and getting those 50 ideas. Once you've got 50 possible niches or 50 possible products that you might sell, you then check each of those niches individually by putting them up against different criteria. So for example, you'd start with number 1 on your list, which would be garden gates, so gates that I walk past. I'd go through each validation criteria one at a time and check that it meets each of the criteria and go through each niche one at a time. So how that looks is you start with gates and you think, okay, the first criteria is the average gate in somebody's garden or in the front drive over £300 on average? So you look into Google, go into the Google Shopping and look at the first 3 or 4 pages of Google Shopping and see, is the average price for this product that I'm looking at over £300? You make that judgment. If it is, you can go on to the next step. If it doesn't meet that criteria, you can discount that niche because it doesn't meet the criteria to be a successful product, to be a successful niche. So you can move on to the next one. Let's say I looked at gates and on average gates are around £80. Then I move on to the next one in my list, and that was, I think I mentioned sheds, garden sheds. I do the same first step criteria, and that meets the criteria that the average shed is over £300. Not sure, I'll have to do this double check to make sure my estimations are correct. But for me, just to illustrate the point of this niche validation process, let's say that sheds do meet that criteria, they're over £300, and so that's validated. So we can move on to the next niche validation criteria. The next one would be customer demand. So we need to make sure that those products that we're considering going into has at least 10,000 searches per month in the country that you're selling in. So we need to make sure there's at least 10,000 people in the UK, that's where you're selling into, are searching for those specific products. So the way you do that is by using tools online such as Keywords Everywhere or Uber Suggest. You type in your keyword and it will tell you how many times that keyword is being searched in a particular country every month. So for the example, we would type in garden shed and we'd see how many times that's searched in the UK. And if it's over 10,000 times it's searched, then we're going to move on with that. And yes, that's been validated. There's enough demand. Or if it's not 10,000, then we'll move on and we'll leave that niche. We'll move on to the next option. There has to be over 10,000 searches because that guarantees that there are people looking for these products, people buying these products. And so you can be confident that there's enough demand for you to generate a business around. The next step would then be on to the next criteria. And there's actually 9 steps in this full niche validation criteria process to go through. The third step is to check whether the niche that you're looking at going into is seasonal or if it's trending down. So if it's seasonal, it means that it'll only be selling at certain times of the year. So think Christmas trees or think paddling pools. Christmas trees are only going to sell in winter. Paddling pools are only going to sell in summer. And so think about, you want to go into product niches that are year-round successes, so you haven't just got to rely on certain times of the year. So the way you'd find out if a product is seasonal or trending down is to go to Google Trends, type in your keyword, so my example was garden shed, and find out if it is a seasonal niche. You'll see on that graph that the graph would go up and down like this. where there's a big spike in summer, a drop in winter, and a spike in summer, a drop in winter. And if you can see that there is that wavy line, and therefore it is a seasonal niche, then you put it to one side and move on to the next niche. So the next niche in my example would be greenhouse, because perhaps sheds have been pushed to one side. I'm not sure. Perhaps it seems too seasonal. We move on to greenhouses, and I'll do the same test. Perhaps that seems like that's too seasonal as well. So I'd move on to the next one that I mentioned, and that was commercial kitchen equipment. And instead, that has no seasonality, and that's a nice trending line of being very stable all year round on Google Trends. And in fact, the next thing to check is on that Google Trends graph, is that product trending up over time, and is it getting more popular, or is that graph going down over time, and is it actually getting less popular? Make sure you're going into niches where it's stable or trending up. Don't enter a niche that's trending down. You want to make sure that whatever niche you go into is currently trending up or stable, so that you're not going into a niche that's getting less and less popular year on year. Okay, next one to go through, and I'll fire through these niche criteria so you have a good understanding of how to choose products based on data. The next one is you want to make sure that the niche that you're going into isn't brand dominated. So what that means is you want to make sure that the niche that you've chosen isn't dominated by really big names in the industry. So this is the reason why we wouldn't sell laptops or TVs, because laptops are very brand dominated by Apple, by HP, and so we wouldn't be signing up these massive brands. Same as TVs. The TV industry is run by Panasonic, Sony, LG, and it'd be very difficult to go into these markets because you've got to speak to these huge companies to start working with them. So at this point, you want to discount any niches where the brands within the niche are very large companies. Okay, next step is to make sure that there's at least 10 different suppliers in the niche, so 10 different brands, to make sure that you're going to be going into a niche where there's lots of suppliers that you can work with, so you're not reliant on just one or two that you need to sign. The next one, you need to make sure that this is more of a bonus one, is a passionate market, and you can find out, again, a judgment call, are there people that are very passionate about the products in that niche that you're looking into? So if you're looking into selling washing machines, it's unlikely that there's a very passionate market around those products. Whereas if you go into selling bikes, then there is definitely a passionate market of cyclists that you can speak to. And it makes it easier from ads point of view, from social media, from building a brand point of view, if it's a passionate market. It's a bonus, it's not essential, but I'd rather go into a passionate market than a niche without a passionate market. The next one is price consistency. So this is an important step. You want to make sure that you're going into a niche where the suppliers in that niche are ensuring that there is consistent pricing for the same products. The way you find out if there's price consistency in your niche is you identify a product in that niche that you can see as being sold online, and you check to make sure that that product is being sold at the exact same price across multiple different stores. If it's not being sold at the same price, it means that the supplier of those products does not enforce an RRP, a recommended retail price in the UK, and so it will be a race to the bottom, and people will be undercutting each other to sell cheaper, and that's not a market you want to go into. So make sure there's price consistency. The next one is to check if the brands are selling directly themselves. Again, this falls into that category of being a bonus, same as the passionate market. But if the brands sell directly to customers as well, it means that you'll be competing with the brands, but secondly, their route to market won't purely just be through you, and so their focus will be split between serving you and serving their customers direct. So again, it's a bonus. It's not essential, but the ideal situation is going into niches where the brands don't sell direct and they only go through their retailers, so through companies like you. That would be a real bonus of a niche to go into. Okay, the final criteria is that there's at least 3 direct competitors in that niche, and that means that there are 3 online-only companies that are operating in the same country, selling the exact same products in the same niche as you. Once you've found 3 of those direct competitors, you've validated that there are other online businesses working with those suppliers already and making it work with the business model that you'll be using. And it validates that 3 others are making it work, and so you can as well. Once you've taken your niches from that initial 50 ideas through each of those criteria, you will come out with normally between 1 and 4 niches that have made it through and have been validated for each different stage of that validation criteria. At that point, you know for a fact that that niche will sell and it meets all the criteria to be a high ticket dropshipping item, and it meets the criteria set out by the Dropship Unlocked program. And yeah, we've seen as a coach, I've seen lots of people succeed with this niches once they've gone through that criteria. So make sure you're doing that. It's all based on data. It's not based on emotion. Remember that mistake I made earlier? And I was going into products before that were purely based on just a guess or a feeling that they were going to sell. Well, by doing this, you'll be selling products that you know are absolutely going to sell because you validated using those criteria that it meets the criteria and they're selling already. So once you've got your niche chosen, that's a huge step. You know which products you're going to sell and you go through that process. You know exactly how to start. The next thing is you can build a Shopify store. So I say build a Shopify store because whenever I build a new online store, a website, I'll always use Shopify because it's the best e-commerce platform for selling products online. They're the market leader. They've got millions of retailers, millions of merchants on their site. And so by using Shopify, you'll be tapping into the cutting edge of e-commerce technology. So always worthwhile going for the market leader with this sort of thing. There are other options like WooCommerce, Squarespace, etc. But Shopify is the leader for this type of business that we're running, like e-commerce, selling physical products. So I'd go straight to the leader, always use Shopify. When you build a Shopify store, initially just use a free theme and just set up a store around your niche. And you can even just start by uploading demo products. So they don't even need to be live products yet. You just want to start building that store with 5 to 10 products. And at that point, you can then go to your suppliers to start selling them and you can show them your website that's already created. So just get up a Shopify store, put it together. Don't be a perfectionist. Create a store, make sure there's some demo products, make sure it has some branding, has your logo on there. And it doesn't need to take longer than a week to set this up. Don't get carried away. And it depends how much time obviously you've got to dedicate to it, but when you're starting alongside a 9-to-5 job and you've got maybe an hour or so every day, 2 hours, 3 hours a day you can put towards it, within a week you can have a really basic but professional looking Shopify site, and that's enough to make conversions. It's enough to make sales. So build a Shopify store using Shopify tutorials and just get a basic one set up around your niche to get started. Once you've got your store in place, you can then reach out to suppliers, tell them your website URL, and they'll be so much more receptive to working with you because they can see that you're more serious because you've already got a website in place. So then you reach out to your suppliers and get them signed. Signing suppliers is a crucial part of a business. Something I mentioned before is the importance of having the right suppliers, because if you have the wrong suppliers, then you won't make any sales. It's probably the most important lesson I've learned over my 4 years of business, is that signing the right suppliers, having the right products is way more important than having a good Shopify store and having a good marketing campaign. The right products, the right suppliers is the biggest thing you can do. So sign the suppliers that are in the niche already, and you've got a head start in doing this because you've already found 3 direct competitors for your niche at the end of that niche validation process. So the way you find those suppliers to contact is by looking at the brands that those 3 direct competitors are already selling. And then you go out and start reaching out to those suppliers because you know they're already dropshipping. When you're on the phone with these suppliers, always do a phone call first. You can do emails, but phone calls are going to get you a much higher conversion rate for suppliers. Give them a call. Tell them that you've noticed that their websites, you've noticed that their products would match your website very nicely. You've done your research. You can tell them a few things that you like about their products and that you'd like to be a retailer for them. And yeah, with the right conversation over the phone, you will get them signed up and they will be happy for you to sell their products on your website. So signing suppliers, crucial. Get at least 4 before you start running a marketing campaign. And that will be the next step in getting set up with your first dropshipping business, is to create an ad campaign. So you've got your 4 suppliers, you've got your Shopify store. You can now get an ad campaign that sends people who are online on Google searching for your products onto your website. So if you've built a store, let's say you did go into the barbecue niche that we were talking about before, and you want to really get in front of people who are already searching for barbecues online. How many times when you're purchasing a product do you start by going to Google and start to get a feel for the different products that are available? Well, when you're a dropshipper, what you can do is set up Google Ads so that your website appears in front of those people who are already in the market and searching on Google for the products that you sell. So it means that you're getting your products in front of the right people because they're already searching, at the right time because they're currently searching, and you just got to get the right message and the right products, and they will purchase using that ad campaign that you set up. So to set up a correct ad campaign, think about Google Ads because it's search intent marketing. It's getting in front of people who are already searching. The alternative is Facebook ads, but when you set up a cold Facebook ad campaign, you're just getting yourself in front of people who are essentially browsing. They've shown interest in purchasing the products that you are selling, but they're in a browsing experience, and that's not as high of a buying intent compared to Google Ads where people are already searching Google. So I've always used Google Ads for that reason. So I've used search intent marketing of Google Ads rather than that disruptive marketing of a Facebook or an Instagram ad. There is a time and a place for meta ads. I use them for retargeting customers who have already been to our site. But when you want to get cold traffic to people that have never heard of you before, it's best to go in front of people that are already searching for the products that you're selling on Google. So you set up a Google Ads account. Once you've got your Google Ads account, you can set up different types of campaigns. And I recommend starting with a Performance Max campaign, that was the way I've started, and also a search text ad campaign. So the Performance Max campaign is like a catch-all campaign that you start with all of your products, and it will put your ads, it will put your products in lots of different places around the internet. And over time, after the first 30 days, it will really start to optimize and start to give you great data about which products are most popular. And it will start to learn with Google's AI technology where is the best placement of those ads to get you the best performance. So start with a Performance Max campaign. Google Ads makes it very simple to set these campaigns up these days, but make a Performance Max campaign targeting sales and set a target return on ad spend that you need to see in order to be profitable, and then you'll start to generate sales at a profitable level for your business. Okay, something I just touched on there, which I want to go into in more detail, is a huge lesson that I've learned through running dropshipping businesses, is knowing the metrics and knowing the numbers that you need to achieve with a marketing campaign in order to be profitable. So this is a great lesson I learned through Dropship Unlocked, and that was that we need to set a return on ad spend target in order for us to know when we're making money or if we're making a loss. So the way you work out your target return on ad spend is based on the margin that you have negotiated with your suppliers. So the way it works is the higher the margin you have arranged with your suppliers, so say you've arranged a 50% margin, then that means you've got a much lower return on ad spend that you'd need to see from your marketing campaigns in order to be profitable. Because you've got such a large margin, you make much more money for the revenue that you bring in. So to put some numbers around this, if you have a 50% margin arranged with your suppliers, so whenever you make a sale, you'll keep 50% and they'll keep 50%, that means you only need to achieve a return on your ad spend in a marketing campaign of 2 in order to break even. So you've got a very low barrier to breaking even with your business. You only need your ads to make £2 for every £1 that you spend in order to break even at that level. Now, of course, we're not in business to break even. You just use that as your marker to say the ads have to be above 2 in order for us to make profit. So you make sure that you keep that as your absolute minimum, and everything above 2 is a profitable return on your ad spend. Whereas if you have a margin that's only 30% with your suppliers, then you actually then need to achieve a 3.3 return on ad spend in order to break even. So every time your margin comes down, the return that you need to see on your marketing campaigns will increase. So it's important because it shows you the importance of margins. The higher the margin, the lower the marketing campaign performance needs to be for you to still make money. When you've got a low margin, if we're talking about going right down to say you've got just a 20% margin, you then need a 5 return on ad spend just to break even. Below that, if you just had a 10% margin, you need a 10 ROAS just to break even. And so the numbers are very much in your favor when you've got good margins. But that is a key point to understand. Work out your average margin from the suppliers that you've signed, and that will teach you the break-even return on ad spend that you need to achieve. And with that, you can run marketing campaigns successfully and profitably because you know which number you're looking at when you're looking at the performance. So that is ad campaigns set up. So going on to some common challenges that I've seen now that I've experienced and many others are experiencing is when I first got my first campaign live, this is a Facebook ad campaign for my cheap low ticket products. A lot of people see this is poor ad performance. So you're seeing that you're spending more on ads than you're generating in sales for your business. Now, the most common reason for poor ad performance is low demand for the products and the suppliers that you're selling. So the biggest thing you can do when you get that ad performance that's poor is to sign new suppliers and add more products, because it's telling you, if you've got poor ad performance, that those products that you're trying to sell at the moment aren't in demand enough for you to make consistent sales profitably. So the first thing to think about if your ad performance is low is to keep diversifying the range of products and suppliers that you've got, because that's data telling you that it's not the products that you're selling right now hasn't got the right demand. Okay. The next thing that is really common as well, and this is really common in that low ticket dropshipping that we've talked about before, is having issues with suppliers themselves. So this comes from oftentimes if your supplier is on the other side of the world, there's a language barrier for a start, and often the communication channels are on different time zones and they're not clear in the communication. And what happens then is you can have mistakes in terms of delays in how long the product takes to get there. You can have mistakes on the amount that you get charged. And there's just communication mistakes that happens. You can have low quality products going from those suppliers as well. And I've seen all of those things happen with my initial low ticket business. So the way to get over that is to sign high quality suppliers using the methods that I talked about before, and making sure that you vet the quality by looking at the reviews for those brands and by testing the communication channels that you've got with them. Once you've got really high quality suppliers, it will pay you off for years to come. So it's worth being selective with the suppliers that you work with. The next thing that I see people get wrong is not prioritizing their customers that they're selling to. And this is just a rule of business, and dropshipping is no different. You need to provide good customer service. And if you're excellent at customer service, and if you really look after your customers, they will return and they'll refer other people to use you as well. So the way you guarantee good customer service is by doing the things that are personalized for your customers. So reaching out to them by phone after they've received their order. It's making them feel listened to if they've got any questions before they place their order. You can do this yourself when you get started, or what I've done after you've got consistent profit coming in is hire virtual assistants. And I always hire virtual assistants from the Philippines, and they are great customer service agents. They'll make your customers heard. They'll make sure they feel listened to, and in that case, then you'll have great customer service, and you can't neglect that. You can't neglect that at all. Think about your own customer service experiences. When you're looked after, you'll return back to that place of business, and it's no different in dropshipping. You need to make sure your customers are looked after. The next most important lessons I've learned from my dropshipping experience so far is effective marketing strategies. We've talked about paid media, talked about Google ads, we talked about the retargeting meta ads that I set up as well. But aside from that, there are other marketing campaigns that are crucial for you to really drive home consistent profit for your business. The next two that I talk about, they fall into the category of email marketing and SEO, or search engine optimization. These two will be big drivers of profit for your business if you spend some time optimizing them after you've got your initial paid media campaign set up. So what I learned is that paid media, so Google ads, Facebook ads, getting those set up first is crucial, because they will get cold traffic to your website very quickly, and they are a quick win. Paid ads quickly get traffic, quickly convert customers, quickly get business into your company, get revenue in. Over the long term, they will generate revenue for you, but to really increase the profitability of your dropshipping business, you need to think about email and SEO. They come next. So they come after you've learned which products are selling best with a paid media campaign. They come after you've validated that you've got some sales coming through and you can convert with your Shopify store. Then you can really optimize and scale the profitability of your business. So with email first, you want to make sure that you're capturing people's email addresses when you get people onto your website. So you really want to squeeze the most out of your paid ad budget. The more emails you will collect, the more you're getting out of your ads budget. So just think about this. When you pay with your ads budget to get people to your store, you either want them to convert, or the second best option if they don't convert is that they leave their email address with you, so you can reconnect with those people by sending them an email into their inbox the same day or the next day after they've been on your website. Now, the stats around this are huge. I mean, my business generates around 20% of all revenue through the email channel, and that is just by capturing people's email addresses when they first visit the store and then following up with them by email to get them back onto the website. I know this to be, in some cases, up to 30% and even a third of all sales come from an email channel with some businesses that I know. And so it's absolutely worthwhile to spend some time optimizing your email campaigns. So to optimize your email campaigns, the best value that you can get is optimizing the automated flows that you set up. So automated flows are emails that get sent out automatically based on the actions that a customer takes. So an automated flow example would be an abandoned checkout flow. So when a customer abandons the checkout and they've gone to start the checkout, they haven't completed their order, that will then trigger an email to be sent to them to say, come back to the store, have you forgotten something? And it brings people back to finish their purchase. You'll have noticed this if you've ever gone and added something to your cart and online and you've not completed the checkout, you'll be retargeted with emails to get you back onto the site. It's a very common one. You get a lot of people that convert where they might have forgotten had you not followed up with an email, and it is a big revenue driver for my business. So make sure you create that flow. What I learned as well is over time, you should add more and more emails to that automated flow, because you only need to create that email once, but it will get sent to thousands of customers over your business lifetime. And every email that you add to that flow is another chance to re-engage with customers who are clearly very interested in purchasing, and it gives them more information, gives them another reason to buy from you, gets them back on the website. So optimize those flows, and that is the first crucial step, but it's the most valuable step I found in email marketing with my own business. The next thing to talk about is search engine optimization. So what is that? That basically means you getting customers to your site organically with the Google search engine results. So if you think about when you search for something online, if you were to search for garden sheds right now, what would happen at the top of that search engine results page is you'll see the ads. You'll see some shopping ads, images of products with white backgrounds, and then you'll probably see some search text ads. So these are text ads that you can see say sponsored at the top. And then beneath those ads, you'll start to get your organic search results. So these are search results for the keyword that you searched that Google has deemed as the most appropriate for that search term that you're using. And these companies who are high up on that in the organic listings are companies that are not paying to be there. Instead, not like ads, they're not paying to be there, like they've not like run an ad. The ads are at the very top, but the organic results, instead, Google is ranking those website results based on the how much of an authority that website is in the industry and how relevant a page is on their website compared to the search term that's being used by that customer. So the actions that you can take to ensure that you get more or you get higher up that search engine results page is to make yourself more of an authority in the eyes of Google, and it's to create really relevant content that Google will rank highly for different search terms. So it sounds confusing. It took me a while to get my head around what that really means, but essentially there are some key things that you can do, which I'll talk about now, for you to increase how many clicks, how many website visitors you get from an organic searches. And quickly, just before I do that, the reason why this is important, the reason why you should listen and do this, is because every sale you make from people that come to you organically, there's no cost to acquire that customer. So everything, all of the profit that you make from that order goes straight to the bottom line of your business. You don't have to pay anything in ads to generate those sales. So they are more profitable than the sales that you generate through your Google Ads campaign. So first thing to do that I found was really, really beneficial was to run your paid ad campaign, work out which products and which collections are most popular, and then optimize those products and collections on your website for SEO purposes. So that means when you've seen which products are getting the most clicks, that the most interested people, most popular already, then you optimize those descriptions and the collections around those products by enhancing the number of keywords that you put in the description, and by spending some time to really enhance that product page or collection page in the eyes of Google. So you add more keywords to the description and the collection. That will help those pages that are already popular start to rank more highly. You can also be creative and create collections around search terms that people are using. So if you sell wallets, for example, and you know that people search specifically for black leather wallets, then you should create a collection of all of your black leather wallets in order to appear for that search term. And again, going over the most important lessons I've learned, that's the most important things to be doing from an SEO standpoint, as well as doing all those optimizations. To get yourself to become an authority, you need to have some other websites linking to you. And so you should reach out to large blog companies in your niche and offer to write blogs for them in exchange for having some links to your website. And that's a quick way of really increasing the authority of your website in the eyes of Google. Once you have your business generating consistent profit, now with the paid ads that you've got set up, with the email and SEO efforts that you're doing, you can now start thinking about scaling and growth beyond the initial starting phase. Now, this is where you want to start becoming quite process driven, because everything in your business can be distilled into a simple process. The reason you set things into a simple process is because you want to make sure that you can outsource all of the day-to-day operations of your business. And the only way you can outsource all of the day-to-day operations is by clearly recording the processes involved in making your business generate income. So you record all of the different steps that you take as a business to fulfill orders, to look after customers, to upload products, to enhance product descriptions. You record everything that you do for your business into a process, and then you can outsource this. So if you want to scale, if you want to be able to run this as a lifestyle, you really need to know how to turn your business into a set of processes. Because if you don't turn it into a set of processes, you'll always be tied to running the day-to-day tasks of that business. You'll always need to be there to jump on a customer call, or to fulfill an order, or to do all the things that this business demands of you day to day. If you can't do that, you'll never be able to take your time to spend your time how you want to spend it with the business, which is ultimately what we're doing this all for in the first place. So start to look at all of the different options of all of the different processes, all the different actions that you take for running that business, and put them into processes. And the way I put them into processes is just simply with a Google Doc. So you have a Google Workspace account, you create Google Docs, save it all into a Google Drive related to your business, and there should be bullet point lists of all of the processes that you follow for your business. And once you've got a process in a bullet point, you go through that process step by step, recording with a Loom video, like a screen recording tool, and then you can use that video with the bullet points to send that to somebody else, like a virtual assistant, to look after that process. And suddenly you're giving the day-to-day tasks away, so you can concentrate on running the business and actually owning the business and spending your time how you please. So, crucial point. The way that you outsource is to hire virtual assistants from the Philippines. So this is what I'd absolutely recommend, is what I've done, which has really helped me to scale my businesses. So what I recommend is that you go to a website where you are ready to hire, to onlinejobs.ph, and you post your job for a customer service virtual assistant, and you'll find that there are lots of people looking for that type of work because it's fully remote. So in order to sift through all of the different applicants that you get, you want to make sure that there's a few requirements that you ask for in your job post to really get the winners out of the applicants that apply for your job. So ask for voice recording to get the level of English, ask for a grammar score, so that they take a grammar test online, ask for them to send their CV, a cover letter, and then that means only people that are really serious will actually apply. And a second little bonus thing to do is like an Easter egg inside your job post. So ask them to send you a photo of a purple giraffe and just put that in the middle of the job post. And it just means that people that have really got good attention to detail, people that are really keen, people that aren't just spamming and applying for loads of jobs, only the people that are really keen will notice that request and provide that photo of a purple giraffe. So that way you'll find a real winner with a key attention to detail. Then once you've got your virtual assistant, the first one in place, the first things to outsource will be your customer service. So answering live chat messages, emails, phone calls. And then once they are very confident with looking after your customers, the next thing will be then to ask them to fulfill your orders for you. And again, you've got all your processes created before, so you just send the processes to your virtual assistant and they can just go step by step through the bullet points that you've already laid out. Then after that, they can start looking after your emails, your SEO strategy, and really look after your whole business once you've got the first things taken care of. And it allows you to focus on generating more profitable sales. It allows you to focus on signing more suppliers and running the business. And crucially, it allows you to reap the rewards of the work that you've put in. You can start to spend your time how you please because the business is running and generating income without needing you constantly monitoring that business. So it's hugely important. So what I want to wrap up with on this video about all the lessons that I've learned is, as well as all of the steps that you take, there's something huge that really happens while you're running and scaling dropshipping businesses. And what it is the growth that you'll experience as an entrepreneur, as a person. By going through all these challenges, by setting up a business, by generating income as an entrepreneur, you will absolutely have to grow as a person in order to succeed and in order to achieve the success. And that is the biggest result out of all of the work that you put in, is the person that you become. So what I got wrong initially was I thought that to go through this business and to generate sales, I just needed to take the right actions in order to succeed. What I didn't realize is that when you succeed, you actually are a magnet to the success you achieve based on the type of person and the level of growth that you've seen as a person. So instead, I used to think you were chasing money and you would chase the income that you wanted to achieve. What I actually realized is that you attract the income that you deserve by being the person that you are. So that means that instead of the money coming and then you becoming a person that get that money, it's the other way around. You have to become the person who is deserving of running a full-time successful business, and then the money comes to you as that person who is deserving of making that money. Lots of people want to be that person who is capable. Lots of people want to be a person who is making £10,000 a month, but they don't want to be a person that deserves to make £10,000 a month. So the key is that you will grow so much as an entrepreneur. Think about constantly adapting, growing, being open to learning new skills. And that means you'll become the type of person that can make £10,000 a month with a business like this. And so you will achieve it once you become that person. So the biggest reward out of running businesses, out of growing e-commerce ventures, out of growing dropshipping businesses, is the person that I've become through growing all of that. It's grown me because I've been through challenges. I've learned so many lessons. I've been around amazing mentors. I've been around amazing people. It's really helped me to develop as a person. And that's the biggest reward. Aside from the money that you generate, it's the biggest reward is actually the person that you become. And that's been a huge lesson for me. So remember that. You will be growing as a person when you build this business, and that is the ultimate reward of building a successful dropshipping business. So that is that for today's video. I've tried to distill there my 4 years of dropshipping experience so far into a single video, and I tried to pack it really densely with information so you've learned from the lessons and the mistakes that I've made. If you have gained value from this video today, then I really would appreciate if you were to like the video, drop it a comment if you enjoyed this type of video, and subscribe for more videos of this nature, and that will teach me to know what type of videos you like learning from in the future. Also, what I've learned from my experience is that by getting around the right types of people, you will be pushed on to achieve great success that you never thought possible before. And so it's been a big part of my journey, and so I'm now building my own community to get around more ambitious people that are building successful businesses and on their journey towards entrepreneurial success. So if you're interested in getting around people like that, then check out the first link in the description. Or if you don't want to get around an ambitious community, it's completely free. But if you don't want to do that, then feel free to ignore that sign. Okay, with that said, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope you've got some value from it. And if you have, then I'll see you in the next video.